We are with Voe Squamish election 2011, my Squamish coverage of this municipal election, and I'm with outgoing councillor, long-term local politician, and well-known public figure Corinne Lonsdale. Welcome, Corinne.
Good morning, Denise.
Now, tell me, your political career in Squamish, how long has it been? And I know you've been mayor and councillor. Can you describe that a little bit?
I was a councillor first elected in 1983, was there until 1990, had a little bit of a break because I got defeated in an election by 6 votes. Mayor then from 93 for the next 3 terms, mayor for 3 terms, and then councillor for the last 9 years.
That is amazing. And what do you think your success, can you contribute your success to?
I did it in the first place because I was quite involved in a number of organizations in Squamish. I had been on the Recreation Commission, so I had a little bit of an idea about what local government did. And I was involved with organizations that saw me in the mayor's office from time to time. So I really, really cared about the community. There was an issue, in fact, with recreation that spurred an individual on to have me get involved, and, I've been there ever since. And why have I been there ever since? How come do you think I've been there? I think I am seen to be representative of the average citizen in this community. I do listen pretty well, and I respond to my phone calls and my emails, and just try to be one of the masses.
Well, whatever you've done has worked for you. So, I mean, because people do continue to keep supporting you, you continue to be high in the polls continuously. You basically have, you always have a groundswell of support. Whether they agree with all the things you do or not, there is a groundswell of support. So that's significant, I think. Now, again, so you think it's just listening and doing the legwork? Is that what's made you successful, or?
Well, I think along with that, it is really important to have common sense. And I believe I pack a good, fair share amount of common sense. I think that it's really important that you do your homework. You need to read your packages. You need to understand what's going on internally. When I was first elected, I'll just tell you, I wanted to be on recreation commissions and things like that. That's what I wanted to be appointed to. But the first mayor, Jim Elliott, put me on works and services, and I thought, oh my God, what do I know about drainage, ditches, and sewers? Well, I learned. And now, I'm more comfortable sitting down over dinner and talk about sewer pipes than I am about babies. It was such a learning curve, but if you put your mind to it and really, take that interest, it serves you well.
But so what is important to you, Corinne? What over this whole period, has it changed? What's important to you when and I'm talking about not Corinne Lonsdale, but your approach to our community as a councillor, what do you keep in the front of your mind? Do you do that, or do you just keep reacting to things as you go with a gut instinct?
No, I think what's important to me is to see the community move forward, and that means change. I certainly embrace change. We need to keep pace with the rest of the world. We need to always be able to say that we're proud of the community we live in, that, this community is our backyard, and, you want all good things for it. You want the people that live in this community to be able to work and play and sleep here. I'd say work because today, we have some challenges in that regard, but you just have to keep plugging it away at some of these things. But it's just like, this is home, and I value this community. And I think others that are elected do, and those that will be should value this community as if it's their own 800 square feet of personal property. Take care of it like you own it.
Mm-hmm. So when people are putting the emphasis on the jobs, do you feel like that's important, or do you think that they're just kind of not being patient or not looking at what's really the good work that's being done, or how do you think of that?
Well, I think most of them aren't aware of the good work that's being done, quite honestly. I don't think they have any idea what this council has done, and I think that's sad. However, having said that, I think it's important that they do put the emphasis on it because they need to keep focused, just as this council is focused on jobs. It's important to stay focused and to be focused. So I'm happy to see them putting that there. Just please don't be too critical of what we've done, because we've done a lot more than most, I think, in this period of bad times. You have to remember the economy in the rest of the province went into the tank somewhere around 2008 or 9, not when ours just went in just over a year ago. So, we did very well for a couple of years while the rest of the province was already, basically struggling. So Yeah.
Now, you've been a leader in this community for a very long time. And what I hear all the time is people saying this new Squamish, like we're always on the brink of something. I've been hearing that my whole entire life. What do you say to that? Is it a new Squamish? Have we changed? Are we the same old Squamish in a different package? What do you think?
I think I said it before, communities are ever changing, and I don't think, every day is a new day. And so in some way, every day we're a new community, I suppose. But maybe you've also heard the expression, the more we change, the more we stay the same. And so, there's a lot of that too, the community spirit, all those good things that really, really form the basis of a good, strong community we have here. And, that's not going to change, or at least I hope it's not going to change. It's important. Being a counselor is about community service. It's not a profession. It's a calling, if you like. It's just something you want to put your mind to. So what's important, as I said earlier, is, listen to the people, get out on the ground, do your work. Being a counselor is not a profession. You can't find being a counselor in any job. There's no job description, If there was, I'm not sure what it would read. Commitment to community, who knows, common sense, those kind of ability to read, listen. That's your job description. But it's not a profession. And, I know today there's been a bit of emphasis placed on our remuneration. I've sat down and I figured it out. We have the entire month of August off. And if you take the other 48 weeks and you look at our stipend as counselors now, not talking about mayor, counselor gets $20,000 a year in their pocket. They get, on top of that, a $5,000 benefit package. Great medical, can't beat it. And all of that on top of, you get 1/3 of all of that tax-free. That equates to another $5,000. So if we're making, that's $30,000 a year. Work that out on an average hourly rate for 30 hours, which I would say rarely does anybody spend. Mostly, I would say we spend 20, but at 30 hours a week, that's $21 and some odd cents an hour. Pretty darn fine wage, I think, for a part-time commitment, particularly sometimes when I've seen counselors play solitaire and book their holiday flights and do Facebook that sit next to me. So sometimes even in the council chambers, our minds aren't totally where they should be, or at least in my opinion, where they should be. So, it's about community commitment. That's what it's about. It's not about money, and it really troubles me when that becomes an election issue. I just makes me sick.
Okay, tell me, looking back over your council career, is there anything that stands out to you as a failing that you wish you could have done different if you could have? And I can imagine you guys are making thousands of decisions in a week, in a month. I'm sure there's lots of things that you think could have went a different way. But is there any one thing that you think, geez, I wish it would have been a different way?
I can honestly think of two issues where maybe I should have learned better the first time, but it took the second time to be called up on it, if you like. The airport, whatever that would have been, 15 years or so ago, the airport was a huge issue in this town. And to my mind now, in reflection, it was a big issue because it was pretty much all done behind closed doors. And when it was determined that we were going to have this expansion and have regular flights between Seattle and Squamish, it was sprung on the community. They didn't know. And it was an ugly issue, and it was not a nice election that time around. And I say that because when it was in camera, I was not on council. That was my 3-year sabbatical, if you like. In any case, that was one issue. And I did win the next election, even though it was ugly. That's fine. I didn't learn enough from that, though, because the next time around was 6 years later, and it was the issue we refer to as CHIPS. And that was the land use that was very controversial down on the Cattermole Slough. That really taught me a lesson. It taught me a lesson that if you don't really work well with the community right from the get-go and listen to the community, you're doing your community a disservice. And, so what do I tell people these days? I tell people that you listen because the community is always right. And even if you in your heart know they're wrong, they're right as well. And you better figure out how to make whatever it is they want work. That's what we're elected to do. We're elected to serve the people, to do what's best for the community. And, in most instances, you can do that. You need to make what the community wants work.
But a tough thing to do, because you've just articulated, sometimes you have more information than regular people have. And also, sometimes people might at home be agreeing with what you're thinking and doing, but there's a small vocal minority who are making a lot of noise and are being, who are making the points. So how do you balance that out?
I think that's where the first issue came into play, the airport. And we could have done better with the chips, if you like. If you right from the get-go, engage the community properly in a real meaningful way. Get out there and make sure, bring them on board, get them involved. Make sure they have as much information as you have. Then, whatever decision the community makes is the right one. Yeah.
Okay, now let's do the other extreme. What can you look back and feel, and maybe you won't know for a year or 2 or 5, what do you think you're most proud of? Is there any 1 or 2 things that you say, you know what, I'm so pleased that I was there to contribute to moving my community forward in this direction?
Yeah, it's really hard to do that, Denise, because over 25 years, there are so many various issues out there that I felt really good about, taxation in lieu of taxes from BC Rail. One of the first things, one of the latter things is this financial management plan that we just have now had in our hands in the last month or so. That's going from the beginning to the end, but in between, Quest University, the being able to think outside the box and have a council that actually figured out how we could support the development of the West Coast Heritage Railway Park. And so I said Quest, the railway park, reopening the mill way back, giving guys a job, 250 people a job for an extra 2 or 3 years, which was really important, in fact, because when that happened, the economy was bad. But when they actually ended up closing the mill, the economy was pretty good. Those people were able to sell their houses here and relocate. Thank God for that. At least I feel better for that part of it. But there's been many, many things. The Chief becoming a provincial park. The Spit. I mean, you can go around the community. There's all kinds of things that I feel really, really good about. But in the course of 3 years at a time, there's maybe only 1 or 2 things in the 3 years that'll ever stand out in my mind. Yeah,
But lots of them to kind of feel good about. So you're leaving now, and you've told me off camera that so it may not ever be never. You might be back at some point, but you are leaving now. You've made a decision to go now. Why is that? And do you feel like you're leaving anything undone, or do you have any kind of wishes for where the community is going to go, or thoughts?
I do wish, and I know that, you're going to interview a couple more people in my same position right now that are leaving, and we're all wishing that there was other things that had been able to be completed during our term, and we can just only hope that the new council will pick up where we left off and carry on with those. No guarantees, but hopefully Upper Mancomb Blind Channel Plan being one that's been quite a controversy over the years. There's other issues out there, that the airport, there it was 20 years ago, there it is in front of us again, that's ongoing. And then Garibaldi at Squamish, I'm hearing rumblings again that it's about to resurface its head too. So there's issues out there that I'll follow all these things when I'm not on council. You haven't seen the end of Corinne Lonsdale one way or another. During the years I've talked about neighborhood associations, how important I think they are. Well, I think in the spring or in the summer, you're going to see me come back and see what I can do about getting some of these things that I feel strongly about organized and up and running. I don't want to be the chair or any of those kind of things. I just want to see us having those kinds of things. So I'm still going to be around, and who knows, in 3 years, maybe my name will be on a ballot again.
Well, any final thoughts or words that you have for the community?
For the community, actually, I have some final thoughts and words that I should have said earlier for the new people that are going to be elected. I think it's extremely important that when you go to bed at night, you have no regrets for what you did during the day, that you feel good within your heart and you're conscious whatever decisions you made were the right ones, because above all and everything else, you need to sleep with yourself and you have to be comfortable. Otherwise, your health will just deteriorate. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, well, on behalf of the community and my Squamish and all of us, I would like to thank you once again for everything that you've done, and we hope you're not going anywhere, and we thank you for your time again today.
You're welcome, and I thank the community for letting me do what I've done.